Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Championship review and reaction for round 32. This is part 2. So we'll be talking about the games that occurred last night. It's been a midweek round. So we had 6 games on Tuesday, 6 games on Wednesday. We will talk about the Wednesday night games. Plenty of developing stories in the Championship for sure over this midweek. Let me know that you can see me, hear me loudly and clearly. Say hello in the chat, and most importantly, get involved with your comments. Try and focus on the game we are talking on at the time if you want them to be read out. And then at the end of the show, we will do our goal of the week and team of the week. There is a poll going already on YouTube for our goal of the week. We're going to get into the action in just a second. Let me just say my thank yous and do my plugs real quick. Thank you to Russ, a fan and now friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you to Russ for getting involved. He's the review show sponsor for the season. Of course, you too can get involved over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Q&A in the can and ready to upload for Patreon exclusive today. That was good fun. Did 40 minutes of Patreon exclusive mailbag this morning. You can obviously support via Super Chat. Any point in the broadcast, first Super Chat in the stream becomes the king of the bin. But for absolutely free, hit the thumbs up button wherever you are watching, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Remember, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications. Let's have a look at the 6 games from last night. That's the entire round up there. But our 6 games, if you look from halfway down, 24th of the second. Barnsley 2, Stoke City 0. Brentford 3, Wednesday 0. Swansea 1, Coventry 0. Blackburn 2, Watford 3. Bournemouth 1, Cardiff 2. Preston 0, QPR 0. It was a good day for everyone in the top 6. You'll notice the clever wording there. Bournemouth are no longer in the top 6, as we suspected that might happen. Let's get into this now. And our first game is Brentford 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Get your comments in on this one. Brentford, bit of a worry before this one. 3 straight defeats and no Tony, although he was on the bench, hopefully not being rushed back too quickly for his sake. No Henry, no Norgard, no Janssen. So weakened team, 3 straight defeats, but they came through 3-0. In this one, Wednesday, bad run for them. Now, I think it's back-to-back defeats for them or 3. We'll have a look in the table in a second. Raya in goal, then Dalsgaard, Reed and Pinnock partner for the first time. That doesn't mean Sorensen drops out of the team because he's going to go and cover Henry at left back. So he's the one who's played all the games, hasn't he? Jensen, Janel, Godos is the starting 3. So Josh Da Silva gets a rest. Marconde is back on the bench. That is some good news for the Bees in terms of fitness there. And up top, 3 wide players, basically. Fosu and Canos wide. And Buemo steps into the centre. Remember when Ollie Watkins did that? He scored 25 goals in a season and then went to Villa for 25 million. We said for a while, the Brentford system is very desirable if you are the central striker in terms of the chances you get created for you. Go figure. And Buemo scored last night. There's your Wednesday team. Wildsmith in goal. Palmer, Lees, Ergaheed, Harris and Penny wing-backs. Hutchison, Bannon, Reach off, Jordan Rhodes and Elias Kachunga. Keep your comments coming in on this game. I will show you the goals and then we can get into those. There is the open. I think it's a long throw-in from Sorensen. Kanyos drills it across goal. And Buemo was told, get in between the posts and score a goal. He diverts it into the net with a header. Nice finish this from Saman Godos on the angle on the right foot. Drills that one in for 2-0. And there is Mads Sorensen from a free kick. You can see Ivan Toney's come on at this point there. And he nods it in. Wildsmith gets a hand to it, but it kind of creeps over the line. So Brentford, first win in a few games. And as you can see from the numbers, a very viable performance there. 4 big chances to 0 for the Bees, in some part getting back to where they need to be. What that does for the table is it closes the gap up to Norwich. But if you're a Brentford fan, you shouldn't really be looking at Norwich at the moment. Obviously, there is that game coming up in 2 games' time. But it's more about the chase from Watford now and Swansea. They're level on points and within 1 point rather than the team 7 points ahead. I think that would be a sensible position for Bees fans to take. But they've arrested the slide. And if they go on another 21-game undefeated streak, you'd think unless there was a ton of draws, that streak would end in the Premier League. But we will see how it pans out. You don't know what Watford and Swansea are going to do from 3rd and 4th, do you? For Wednesday, 3 straight defeats. I mean, Rotherham lost and Birmingham lost, Coventry lost and Huddersfield lost. So they haven't lost too much ground. But looking at the amount of red circles in that bottom 6, I think our rising tide has stopped. Everybody is below a point per game now in the bottom 4, which means, as ever, our 10-year projection of 45 points may well turn out to be the case, unless a couple of teams go on a run now, all projecting less than that in the bottom 3. So Wednesday, well, need to get some wins from somewhere, don't they? And hampered as ever by that 6 points deduction. What are you guys saying here? Wednesday's fundamental problem all season is they have nobody who can score apart from Patterson. Scruffy ones, absolutely. This was not dressed in January. Chancery is broke and losing interest there. What's the situation with the manager's post at Wednesday? Is it just drifting? Looks like it, Mr. E. Just giving it to Neil Thompson. Wednesday home to Rotherham in 2 games. Interesting. Teams need to press high against Brentford. They really struggle with it against Barnsley. Well, fine, but it's a bit of a case of easier said than done, isn't it? This is the game I watched, says Ridley. Owls must be worried about their team. No fight, no clue how to attack or anything just awful. Could seriously be going down. Jack Marriott didn't work out, did it? Lewis as well. Steve, B's a good result. Just what they desperately needed. Shame. And I think we are all good. How was Shaylee after last night's incident? Fortunately, she has a sense of humour and saw the funny side. But yes, I have not been kicked out of the house for accidentally blocking Shaylee and putting her in the fake news sin bin for 5 minutes last night. So Brentford 3, Wednesday 0. But Watford get their 4th straight victory up at Blackburn. Get your comments on this one. It was Blackburn 2, Watford 3. And the away form's improving, isn't it? They stick with the 4-3-3 again. Sema and João Pedro and Sarr all score as well, to Xisco Munoz's credit there. Blackburn, 5 straight defeats. In goal for Watford, backman, Firmino, Ekong, Sierralta and Messina across the back. Cleverly, Hughes are joined by Gosling. I think that must be his first start for Watford. Often we get Chalobah in that spot, don't we? And Sarr, João Pedro and Sema, as I mentioned up top. For Blackburn, Kaminsky in goal. Nyambe and Douglas are the fullbacks. Branthwaite and Harwood Bellis are a young, borrowed, inexperienced championship centre-back pairing going against Ismaila Sarr at some points here. I know he's primarily wide, but you just wonder whether a bit of experience in there might help. Tony Mowbray knows more about being a championship centre-half than most of us, though. Rothwell, Travis, Evans across the middle. Elliott, Armstrong, Dak. Really good front 3, but Rovers are going to be 2 behind in fairly short order in this one. Here's the opening goal. It's a bit of a mess, actually. You can see João Pedro just getting in behind. He's going to lob that over Kaminsky's head into the back of the net. I think it's Branthwaite came out, headed the ball, and then the defensive line's all skewed and cleverly hoofs it back over. One of them's got his arm up for offside. The other one's 10 yards up the pitch. It's a bit of a mess from the two Rovers centre-backs, and João Pedro capitalises. And speaking of a bit of a mess, there's your goal for 2-0, loose in the box. Ismail Assar over, well, most distances, but short distances, is probably one of the fastest players in the league, isn't he? And he quickly sprints to stretch to just force that over the line from a couple of yards out. This goal was an absolute mess as well, but a very good finish. I saw this one coming in on the Gillette show for Harvey Elliott. Watford must have given the ball away about 5 times in the previous 30 seconds before. There's a horrible goal, and Messina gets robbed, and it's fed through to Elliott. He shows his quality and smashes it in. But yeah, Watford, I think, masters of their own downfall there. However, Ken Sema works his man, sticks that one in with the left foot across Kaminski into the corner. Pretty nice build-up before that as well. That's 3-1, but 3-2. You can't see the ball there. Sorry, you can see Brereton on the back post going to force that one over the line. So look, it was monsoon conditions up in Blackburn for this one. A few scruffy goals, but well done, Watford. 4th straight victories for them. 5th straight defeat for Rovers. So let's have a look at numbers. We're looking for a viable win from a Watford point of view. Not overly tight game. 7 shots to 5 on target. 1 big chance apiece. Not much in the possession at all. Get the job done. And that is what Watford did last night. Let's have a look at the table. So Watford are level on points with Brentford. Obviously, they've taken 9 points out of Brentford over this past 4 games, with that 3 defeats for Brentford and 3 wins for the Hornets. And can they push for this automatic place? The home form is magnificent for Watford, the most points accumulated in the division. The away form is vastly improving now, and that's 11 points in 5 games. It probably, from all our projections, doesn't even need to be that good. And Watford's push will continue if they can keep going with their home form. But we got to give a tip of the cap to Xisco. Change of systems worked. Results are coming. Still feels like there's another, maybe they're in 3rd gear now rather than 2nd gear. Still feels like there's more there, doesn't it? And Blackburn down to 15th now, below Preston and QPR, who both picked up a point in the draw last night. Bristol City obviously won this week. Not a good midweek for Blackburn, and 5 straight defeats drops them to 15th. My expectation would be pushing at the top 10, especially with Dak, Armstrong and Elliott as your front 3. So not going too well for dear old Mogger at the moment. That's tremendous, Alex. With backman Turner overdriving goal, I feel you ain't seen nothing yet. The race for rank promotion is looking exciting, although Norwich have the advantage. As for Blackburn, at least they seem to have shown plenty of heart to nearly come back. True. Still not convinced by Watford defensively. I mean, it's flipped, hasn't it? They were very defensively good. Feels like the Championship has evolved in just 4 or 5 years, says Jim. Russ, can I mention how many draws Millwall have had? We do that every episode, my friend, but it was Millwall yesterday, so there you go. You've mentioned it now. Munoz doing a great job now since switching to 4-3-3. Agreed. All the front 3 scored, but 4 at the back does leave them. Well, that would go into Lewis's point about defence, doesn't it? Less secure than they were. Worth the risk. Energy lets you get away with a lot in the Championship. If you're slow and methodical, you have to be good. And I do think, I know I've got no numbers to quantify this, but we are in that season, that point of the season now in the Championship, where often good teams just start cruising, don't they? And the wins keep coming and they're just churning out wins regular, aren't they? So I feel Watford at Norwich have been in that mode for a while now, where they're just churning out the wins, aren't they? Watford might be getting there, mightn't they? Speaking of churning out the wins, another one for Swansea last night, and they reacted in the best way to their defeat at Huddersfield. And context is king, isn't it? And okay, you lose 4-1 at Huddersfield. I'm now looking at a 5-game sample where they've won the last game and they've got 12 points. So, context is king and how you react. It was Swansea 1, Coventry 0. Swansea as miserly as ever at home. I think they conceded 6 goals or something ridiculous like that at home. There is your Swans team. They just get the job done, don't they, in tight games at home, Swansea. Woodman in goal. Norton, Cabango and Guay. Bidwell and Roberts are the wing-backs. Grimes, Hourihane. Danda in as a 10. Ayew and Lowe. It looks like Steve Cooper's kind of decided that when he's playing a team higher in the table, he'll play Fulton, Grimes and Hourihane. When he's playing a team lower in the table, he'll stick a number 10 in there, like Danda. Feels like he can go a little bit more attacking. I suspect if Swansea played in the playoffs, you would see Hourihane, Grimes and Fulton in there, perhaps. Did I mention Ayew and Lowe up top? I think I did the whole Swansea team, didn't I? Anyway, let's move on to the commentary team. Wilson, Ostigard, McFadzean, Hyam, DeCosta and McCallum wide. Harmer, Kelly, O'Hare, 10, Walker, Biamu up top. Only the 1 goal in this one. And Swansea being good at forcing this type of victory at home. Keep it tight, get the goal. And it's Hourihane's quality again from the set play. And they managed to get plenty of bodies in the way. It looks like 3 of the bodies stopping Wilson get out are actually Coventry players there. Cabango doesn't have to get too high to head that one in. It's another one of those lovely deliveries from Hourihane that just comes in at the right pace, the right height, the right trajectory, and is hard to defend against. And I don't know if anyone wants to attempt to work out how many points Hourihane has been indirectly responsible for in terms of the goals and things he's got. It's been a really good sign, and I think we can all agree on that. In terms of the performance, well, I mean, if you're at home and you're only going to give up 1 shot on target, you're not going to lose many, are you? No big chances. 1 big chance for Swans, which I'm guessing was the goal. And they get the win, and they are a finely attuned machine. Obviously, I do understand that stats don't represent maybe a last 15, 20 minutes where you sat back, ceding possession, defending a lead. But it's good. We have to make mention of the 2 games in hand. Swansea just off 2 points per game. So let's add, instead of adding 4 points on for the 2 games in hand, let's add 3. That would still put them into second spot. So all looking pretty decent. And Swansea know that Norwich and Brentford are playing each other next week. So they'll be hoping Norwich can do some damage to Brentford, and that Watford slow up a little bit from their current points per game. Coventry, 5 points off the bottom, 4 points in the last 5 games. They are functioning at over a point per game, and all of the bottom 3 are functioning at under a point per game, which would bode well. 14 left for Coventry. We'll start to make our run-in projections pretty soon. But, well, I'll plead the fifth, and we'll look at your comments. Owen, legend, $20. Thank you so much. And Ben was singing hymns and arias. Nice. Who needs strikers when you have defenders who can score? Ask anyone who Ronald Koeman ever played for. But very, very true. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Unspectacular, hard to watch, but just about deserved. Haven't lost back-to-back games all season. Only 6 home goals conceded. That's sensational defensive record. Kel, Swansea were poor on the night but got the win. Cov should have got a point. Don't think any of the promoted sides will stand well. That's not our remit at the moment. But how many clean sheets for Woodman? Alex says 18. Brilliant, brilliant. If they had 3 wins and 2 draws, they'd be a point worse off, but unbeaten in the last 5. Points, win, prizes. There you go. Exactly. If you're going to lose a game, win the next one, is all I am saying. Draws can kill you, can't it? Morgan, we look better with Smith, Fulton, Grimes, but Hourihane has that set piece. Yeah, he does. And he scored goals as well. Yeah, I survived, Owen. We're all good. This year, there are a few good teams able to make the playoffs. Each would be deserving. Is it me, or is the high press more prevalent this year? Yeah, possibly. Not many teams do it very well, though, do they? Obviously, Leeds were fantastic at it, weren't they? And Barnsley this season as well. Preston, when they get it right, are pretty good at it. But it's very hard to ask your players to literally just run all game. That that seems fairly basic. But fair play for Swans. Continue to do what they did. Didn't see the game. It looked like Cov could have got a draw. Cov, last 5 fixtures. Oh, God. Watford, Cardiff, Norwich, Brentford. Wow. That's a very good point. They do need to get up and out of there, don't they? Or just rely on a low tide and they'll survive if there's a low tide. Feels like Swans are running on empty now. Have more matches remaining than their rivals. That's a good point, Chris, as well, with the COVID and the fact that the season's been a month shorter. You would so rather have, even if it's only 2 points, you'd rather have those points on the board. Those end of season games are so nervy. But, Chris, Swansea look like they can win a nervy end of season game 1-0, especially at home, don't they? Loss of Morris, a big blow, as are you and Lowe. Yeah, agreed with all of that. Both teams didn't deserve to win, but glad Swans did. Cov's season won't be defined by playing topside. Robbins has made them tougher to beat than the sides beneath them. Yeah, I probably agree with that. Actually, I think the Swans have been riding their luck for a little while. Be interesting to see if it runs out. I know what you mean. It's Williams. I tend not to call it luck. I've been calling, because I think he's talking about the XG's quite tight on Swansea, isn't it? I just call it being finely attuned and playing your form. But yes, you would like a bit more headroom if you're a Swansea fan, a few more chances created and less reliance on that brilliant defence. But you've got to tip your cap to them. They are doing fab. Right. We said it was coming, didn't we? We all knew this was coming. Mick McCarthy turns up with Cardiff at Bournemouth in the first real big head-to-head, real significant game, this one, of the season, and gets the win. As we suspected he might. 6 straight wins for Mick, and Cardiff are now in 6th position, and Bournemouth under Woodgate are going to be chasing. It was Bournemouth 1, Cardiff 2. There are your teams. Begovic in goal for the Cherries. Kelly, Cook, Carter Vickers, Smith and Rico, wing-backs, Lerma, Cook, Billing, Stanislas, and Surridge. A bit more physical presence against Mick and Cardiff. Phillips stays in goal. Morrison, Flint, Nelson, NG and Bennett. Volks, Pack, Wilson 10 with Murphy and Moore up top. And Mick does it again. He has 6 wins and 2 draws from his 8 games as Cardiff manager. They are on an absolute tear, aren't they, the Bluebirds? Here are the goals, and this is so poor, isn't it? Look, anyone in the division that you don't want to leave with a run on the near post from across, other than Sean Morrison, I'd like to hear, because he's an absolute master from these set plays. He finds the space. I don't know if they've put a block on Surridge earlier in the move. I couldn't quite make that out. Nice. Look, it's Wilson delivering for Morrison or Bennett. But I think it's Wilson takes the left-footed ones, doesn't he? And Morrison nods it in for 1-0. And then Rico almost knows this is a penalty before he's even made contact with NG. He goes to ground and he's total second favourite to win the ball. And of course, NG just knocks it past him. You can see Rico's trying to pull his feet out of the tackle, but it's too late at that point. He's sliding in. Buff, penalty, and Buff indeed from Big Kiefer here. Slams that one in the top corner. Someone tell me in the chat how many goals. He must have 15 or something for the season now. Mustn't he? And a 2-0 head start. And Jonathan Woodgate was totally right in his post-match. Give McCarthy and Cardiff a 2-0 head start. You know they're just going to sit in shape. You're pretty much screwed. Mick wasn't happy with this goal. Sideways pass and Bournemouth so good on transition. Bang. Dan Juma. I think it takes a bit of deflection. Shane Long heads it in. But Cardiff sit in for the 2-1 victory, and they are flying, aren't they? Absolutely flying. And it's just, these are just, I suspect a few of you could name the manager literally from the numbers. 31%, but 3 big chances to 2. He just knows the job far too well, doesn't he, McCarthy? 4 shots on target to 6, though, in Bournemouth's favour. But those 3 big chances, and Cardiff get the win again. And look at that table now. Wow. So we have an 8-point gap between Swansea in 4th and Reading in 5th. And now we have Reading on 51, with Paunovic having lost 4 in 5. We have Cardiff on a massive tear and 6 straight wins on 49 in the playoff spots. We have an inexperienced Woodgate with Bournemouth trending down. We'll talk about Barnsley in a minute, but they're on an absolute tear as well, 1 point behind. And a game in hand, so you can possibly add another point onto the Barnsley total there. Borough with Warnock, Stoke with O'Neill. They're coming over the hill for Woodgate and Paunovic, aren't they? And Cardiff in there. Can they stay in there? I do know that Mick doesn't particularly like the playoffs. Lost in the playoffs, obviously, with Sunderland, didn't he? And with Ipswich. And with Wolves, actually. Yeah, Kevin Phillips did for him. So Mick's more an automatic guy than a playoff guy. But they're in there, and it ain't going to be easy to play against in a playoff semi. Bournemouth, Cardiff. Woodgate already making big mistakes like he did at Borough. Blame indecisive owners who have twice bottled out of a committed decision. I'll give him till the end of the season, Chris, but I may well be turning round to you and saying you were right. But I'll give him to the end of the season for sure. Liam held on second half, 15 goals for Kiefer, incredible run of form. And G looks a great signing, performance consistent. Yeah, so good. Did Millwall lose in the playoffs as well, Alex? Wow, there you go. I was just going to put Katie's comment in as well. I'll do a tweet. In fact, I'll make a note about Kiefer's form since January. But yeah, I'll do that after we've done. I'll find a good number and a way of presenting that. Fantastic. McCarthy back in the Championship. You just can't beat it. It's nice to see him happy as well, because it was so horrible at Ipswich with no money for the last 2 seasons, wasn't it? Can't understand why Surridge isn't marking one of Cardiff's 2 biggest threats at corners. Mr. E, he was supposed to be. I don't know if they blocked him or he just lost him, but come on, it's Morrison, for goodness sake. So good. Yeah, thanks, Oliver. You got to love that. McCarthy versus Warnock on Saturday, Clash of the Titans. That's gone Warnock's way recently, but Warnock had parachute money and Cardiff players, didn't he? And Mick didn't, but look forward to that one. The infamous riots at home to Derby. I will beg to your superior knowledge. Park the bus in the second half. Really, I also think we have to appreciate what phenomenal job Eddie Howe did to take Bournemouth to the top flight. Yes, he did, Ridley. You're going to get a lot of people citing the big FFP infractions, though, for Bournemouth going against that. But yes, the pattern of play was lovely. But they did break a few rules to get there, didn't they? No, don't want to upset any cherries, but there are the facts. Right, let's talk about Barnsley, who are on a tear as well. And they got their 4th straight victory last night against Stoke. And I think the thing I like about what Barnsley are doing at the moment is that I was sitting here quite reasonably saying a couple of months ago, Barnsley are good, but they don't beat the teams that are sort of high up in the table. Well, now they do. They beat Brentford away, didn't they? And they're beating Stoke, who are in and around them. Were they above them before the game yesterday? I can't quite recall. But looking good now, Barnsley, aren't they? And I think I think Peter pointed out over on Patreon, they're using the substitute system so well in terms of keeping their pressing going. It's a good job this that Ishmael is doing. There's your Barnsley team. They beat Stoke 2-0. And Michael O'Neill had back-to-back wins, didn't he? And Stoke were starting to trend back in the right direction. But no cigar here. Collins, Civic, Hellick, Anderson, Styles and Britton, Palmer and Mowat, Morris, Woodrow, Freeser. I like how they recruit as well. Look, You got 2 players from MK Dons in there. Other people weren't shopping there, were they? And Fraser, obviously, from Europe. Palmer's been bought through. Nice. There's your Stoke team. Gunn, Smith and Norrington Davis, Suter and Bart, Mikel and Thompson, Brown, Powell, Timon, Fletcher. You've got to admire people like John Obi Mikel, who probably have more money than God, but love football so much that they're still at Barnsley on a Tuesday night at whatever age he is. Brilliant stuff. The love of the game there. So I clicked the wrong button there. You want to see where Callum Styles bananas this one in for the opening goal, don't you? Lovely. So look at that. You got to love that. That is going to swing over the heads of the defenders and into the back of the net. I'm sure someone's going to raise whoever that is in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. But who cares? It's a great strike by Styles. Flies into the corner. And Daryl DK, who was my loanee of the week, no less, gets his first goal in my tribalfootball.com column. You can check that out. I said that before the goal. Sticks it in from the nice angle, difficult angle, you know what I mean. And Barnsley get the 4th straight victory. Great run for the Tykes. Was it a viable victory? I guess so. Tight game, but 4 shots to 1 on target, 1 big chance to 0. And they're looking good, aren't they, Barnsley at the moment? What does the table tell us? It tells us that the Tykes are 1 point off the playoff positions with a game in hand. Let's not be silly and add 3 points on for a game in hand because the points per game is more like 1.5, isn't it, for the Tykes at the moment? But even an extra point ties things up, and obviously 1.5. I know you can't score that from a single game, but would make them a playoff team. So I think what I'm saying is on points per game, if we did a points per game table, they might already be in the top 6. I don't know if anyone's got access to one of those. But yeah, great. And do you know what we're going to do? Let's just do this real quick. Let's have a look at Barnsley's fixtures coming up and see if this run is likely to continue. Millwall at home, QPR away, Birmingham, Derby, Bournemouth, Wickham, Wednesday. I'm rubbing my chin and saying interesting because I wouldn't mind those fixtures were I a Barnsley fan. Obviously, teams like Millwall are hard to beat. QPR are in good form. Derby are... it's almost that position we get into at the end of the season where we say you actually don't want to be playing against the bottom 8. You want to be playing against teams in the middle who are kind of on the beach already. But look, they're not playing Swansea, Watford, Norwich, Reading are in there, aren't they? And Bournemouth. But of the top sides, those are the ones you'd want at the moment, given the runs. Of course, the future might tell us that those have changed. For Stoke, I mean, they're still in there. They just seem to be short this season, don't they? Whenever they've got close, I predicted them to finish in the top 6. And whenever they've got close, they've then slipped away. And I mean, if we start doing points projections and I mean, if you talk about, well, actually, let's just give you the correct number. Here it comes, everybody. The 10-year averages spreadsheet. There it is. 72 is your average to get into the playoffs. So on average, 7th place scores 71.9 points. So if we use that as a rule of thumb, then it is still quite a tricky total for Stoke to get to. 72 would be 27 from the remaining 14 games. So that's just off 2 points per game, isn't it? If the 10, I mean, it might be a low tide for playoffs. We will see. It could be one of those seasons where 6th place gets 5 points more than 7th place, which traditionally, if you saw my spreadsheet, my nerd spreadsheet, does actually happen, doesn't it? Let's have a look at your comments here. Great goal, says Noah, the Berry Baggio. Deary me. Take anyone's name and then pick a great player with the alliteration is the thing. Barnsley are like watching Leeds when they were in the Championship. Not quite. The precision of the passing isn't quite there on a Leeds level yet, but the pressing and the fun they are to watch is tremendous, isn't it? Just 1 goal conceded in 4 games. Stop conceding those sloppy goals. I doubt we will lose at home to Millwall on Saturday. Go on, Tykes, playing some great stuff. Good shout for playoffs. Glad we've got them out the way. Indeed. What else have we got? Stoke tried to go toe-to-toe. Barnsley just edged it. Great strike by Styles. Wow, Barnsley. Loved your coverage of the Leeds Saints games. Thank you, Yorkshire. My pleasure. Barnsley looking so good at the moment. What's the best way to stop them? Hope Gary Rout has the game plan. The ones that were best. Who was it? Bournemouth or was it Swansea who beat them 4-0? Just bypass it. Bypass the press. Get the ball in the final third. And if you've got quality, it will give you openings. But you need the quality, and you need to keep them out. What else have we got here? Ishmael, currently a manager with unlimited potential. He's rotating to keep up the energy. Can he do it for 14 more games? Fletcher went off injured with Stoke. Oh, God, yeah, it's a no striker for them. Barnsley game in hand at home to Derby. Joshua says, Barnsley look a good outfit. I find it interesting to find out that Ishmael and Farker completed their coaching badges together. Well, they play in a totally different way, don't they? But automatic promotion next season for the Colliers. Meh. I'll plead the fifth on that and tell you when I know who's been relegated, because that always makes a difference. This is the Championship, Ben. They'll drop points somewhat, and that's very true. Just when you think it's all certain, doesn't it? The manager seems to have been giving Barnsley extra belief and momentum. Barnsley were panicking when Struber went. I was, Katie. I was, to be honest. There was no need. Look how things have turned out. Barnsley showing playoff points per game since the departure of the previous manager. Yeah, I think we had them 5th, didn't we? I like how Barnsley throw on and see. That's brilliant, that. I loved it when they did that against Brentford, where Brentford were probably like, oh, right, this lot are tiring now. They just literally swapped the entire front three. I thought that was brilliant, actually. Have you seen Big Val? If I were his player, I'd do as I'm told. Phil, I asked him a question in a press conference, and he's very handsome and very big and looked me straight in the eye and answered me. So, tremendous stuff from Ishmael at the moment. A very a convincing speaker, let's just say. We'll talk quickly about Preston versus QPR, which was 0-0. We'll just bring everything up there. I'm sure Rangers will be happy to keep the unbeaten run going. And Preston, well, they were on a losing streak, won't they? So they'll be happy enough with that. But, you know, Preston have got poor home form, haven't they? Looking at the numbers, one big chance apiece. I don't think it was the best watch if anyone caught this one on Sky. Iverson Vandenberg makes a debut, or presumably a first start for Preston. Story Hughes Cunningham. So he's trying stuff out here, or he's got injuries there at the back. Alex Neil, Brown, Whiteman, Ledson off injured. Sinclair, Gordon, who apparently played quite well. Potts, Evans. So again, does feel like we're trying to find the formula at Preston with, without Ben Davies and Ben Pearson in there. And Bauer has been a big loss at centre-half as well, hasn't he? QPR, nice and settled. Dieng, Dickey, Cameron, Barbet, Kane, Wallace, Bull, Johansson, Chair, Austin Dykes. That feels like it's been the same team for a while. I don't like piling in on players, but are we admitting a bust on Lyndon Dykes? I saw he had 2 pretty decent chances in this game, and the goals don't appear to be coming, do they? Fans of symmetry will like that QPR record. 10 wins, 10 draws, 10 defeats. Nice. They're pushing for the top half now. You wonder if Bristol City will regress to the mean and move up a few points per game under Nigel Pearson. Who knows? Blackburn could also regress to the mean. I don't have them as the 15th best team in the division. And we do expect Forest and Derby to continue to trend upwards as well. So it'd be interesting to see where these two actually finish off. Noah says, looked a bit tired after 4 games unchanged. Good point. Usually lose to Preston away. Happy with a point. On to Birmingham away. Lovely. Right. Let's go to goal of the round. And I will just paste that link into there and you'll see my poll. Get your views in. I have to say, as much as I love our Norwich friends, they are quite good at all. We've got lots of Norwich subscribers. They're quite good at always voting for their goal, whether it's the best one or not. So we do always tend, if there's a Norwich goal in there, to get somewhat of a skewed result where I think, I may be wrong. I may be underrating some of the Norwich goals I put in there, but we always tend to get kind of a high Norwich percentage there. So Pookie's first goal against Birmingham's got 31%, Waghorn 7% for Derby, Jeju 13. Styles is our winner with 46%. Harvey Elliott's goal for Blackburn with 3%. It is difficult to get a credible result in these, honestly, because I love you football fans and you subscribers, but you ain't half biased, I tell you. Always, people will always vote for and mention the goal scored by their team, whether it's any good or not. Any thoughts on that in the chat? Styles. Oh, I'm always upsetting them bits, but they do. They just want to be loved. Bless them, don't they? But let's be honest, all sets of fans are like that, aren't they? And they're all very keen to make it all about their team. It's weird because there's not actually that many true football fans, is it? There's a lot of fans of one team, but yes. Well, I have heard about this Southend goal, Chris, but we have to stick to Championship. Anyone who doesn't vote for Styles, there you go, reverse bias there. Right, help me out with this one. Let's get a credible result here. Please don't just vote for the team you support. Team of the week. So you could go for Norwich, who went 10 points clear at one point. Could go for Derby. They had a win. Bristol City, you could go for. First win for them in a while. Mightn't be a bad shout. Luton and Millwall draw, so we'll leave that. You could go for Forest, back-to-back wins. You could go for Wickham, a rare win on the basis of this season for them. You could go for Barnsley, a fourth straight win, and they beat rivals Stoke. You could go for Brentford, who got their first victory after a 3-game losing streak. Go for Swansea, who churned out another one. You go for Watford, who are improving. Not many draws in this. You could go for Cardiff, who won a key game against a direct rival. I think I'm going to go for Bristol City because they've had it so bad for the last 6 weeks. And we got some Bristol City friends in the chat always, haven't we? So I'll go for Bristol City. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Barnsley, Cardiff, Wickham, Barnsley, Wickham, Forest, Barnsley, Cardiff, Bristol City, Cardiff, Barnsley, Cardiff, Wickham. Should we give it to Barnsley and Cardiff then? Joint. Let's do that. We'll give it to Barnsley and Cardiff joint. I'm going for Bristol City there. Right. Thank you everybody for watching. Only 4 draws in the last 3 rounds. What is going on, Chris? A couple more shouts in there. One for Wickham, one for Bristol City. Right. Please, before you go, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. I will not be live tonight, but I will get the Dearly Departed preview up, and we'll be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the preview, and then we'll also be live in the evening for Nottingham Forest and Derby in the East Midlands Derby. As I say, please hit the thumbs up button before you go. It does help others find the stream. We'll say a big thank you to Russ, a fan and now a friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Woof. And I will see you all, unless a big story breaks, which... I mean, we're looking at Birmingham, really, but I don't imagine it will. I'll be back tomorrow lunchtime. All that remains for me to say is thank you. We'll put up a few thank yous there from Jeff and Noah and Edward. Leeds 2021. It's Williams, Katie, Anthony, Bits. No, I'm out of the doghouse. I'm all right. Irene, Alex. Owen is not going to have any meals for the next 24 hours because he's got Forest Derby tomorrow. I'll enjoy it. Hey, look, I go into Carrow Road every time Ipswich play, and Portman Road for that matter, feeling sick for that game. So I'll just enjoy being completely impartial on that one. And you can have the nerves on everybody's behalf there, you Forest and Derby fans. Right, thank you, everybody, for watching. And it is a lovely big over and out. From me, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.